My girlfriend said, "You need to move out. I'm pregnant and it's not yours." And that one sentence felt like a car wreck inside my head. A soundless blast that left just ringing. For a moment, I actually laughed because my brain would not accept it. Helen stood there leaning on the kitchen counter with that fake peace she used when she'd already made up her mind. Hey everyone, before we continue, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button so you can see more stories like this. Her arms were crossed, her jaw was tight, and her eyes wouldn't meet mine. I said, "Wait, what do you mean it's not mine?" And she sighed like I was a child asking a dumb question. "It just happened, Denzel. You've been distant lately, and I needed comfort." She said, "Comfort?" That word hurt me harder than anything. I blinked, trying to understand, and managed to say, "You cheated on me." And she shot back, "Don't twist this. You made me feel alone." What was I to do? For a second, I thought it was a joke or a test because Helen was never good at hiding her jokes. But her face didn't crack. There was something practiced about the way she said every word, like she'd said this speech in a mirror. I turned away, my mind running, and that's when I heard the horn outside. I looked through the window. There was a black pickup sitting by the driveway. The guy inside waved at her. Casual, confident. "Who the hell is that?" I asked. Helen flinched just a little before replying. "That's Brian. He's helping me move my things. Don't make this a big deal." My heart spiked. "Helping you move? You're moving out?" And she looked at me with that cold look that says the decision was made long before the talk started. "You need to move out, Denzel. I can't be here with you. It's not good for me. Not on my condition," she said. "Your condition?" I said, half yelling, half laughing, because it sounded like something from a bad TV show. "You're pregnant with another man's child, and you're throwing me out of my own house." And she snapped, "You can't force a pregnant woman out. That's abuse. Everyone will side with me, Denzel." That's when I saw she wasn't panicking. She was putting on a show. Her tone, her timing, the way she stood by the door, it was all part of something planned. "Helen, this is crazy," I said, stepping forward. And she pulled out her phone right away, holding it like a weapon. "Don't touch me. I'll call the police," she shouted, and I froze. Not because I was scared of her, but because I saw just where this was going. If I said one wrong word, one wrong move, I'd be the bad guy in her story. I backed away, breathing hard, and she said, "Please don't make this harder, Denzel. Just pack your things and go stay somewhere for a few days." And I asked a few days or for good, and she turned her head a little, just enough to let me see the smirk before she said, "You'll see." Then she opened the door, stepped outside, and waved at Brian like this was simply another Saturday task. I stood there staring at the spot she'd left, and the silence in the house felt thick, like the air itself was waiting for me to understand that everything normal had just ended. Make sure you watch until the very end of this video for some crucial insights. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this story. I looked at the picture in a frame of us on the shelf last Christmas, smiling, fake snow, her hand around my neck, and suddenly it looked like proof, not memory. I packed a bag, locked the door, and left. But something deep down told me this wasn't over. It wasn't heartbreak. It was a trap, and I could feel it even then. 3 days later, I went back to the house to get some papers I'd left in the office. It was raining, the kind of light rain that makes everything feel like it's happening underwater. I parked in the same driveway that I had paid for, walked up to the same door that I had put in, and tried the key I'd carried for 5 years, and it didn't turn. I tried again, slower this time, as if the lock just needed to know me. But it didn't. That's when I noticed the new metal shining in the keyhole, and my stomach sank. "No way," I muttered. I knocked once, twice. For a second, nothing. Then from upstairs, a window creaked open. Helen appeared, leaning out with that smug, triumphant half smile that used to come out when she was winning fights over dishes or weekend plans. "You can't be here, Denzel," she shouted. I blinked at her, rain dripping down my face. "You changed the locks on my house." And she shouted back, "It's not just your house anymore. You left. You left behind a pregnant woman. What kind of man does that?" I felt my pulse in my teeth. You told me to leave. I yelled, and she rolled her eyes a lot. Sure, Denzel. Keep telling yourself that. You think anyone's going to trust you over me? Go ahead, call the cops. And that's exactly what I did. When the police arrived, she had already changed into her victim mode. Soft voice, hand on belly, tear tracks ready like things on a stage. I handed them the paper for the house, told them everything. The older officer looked between us and said, Sir, by the law, if she's been living here for over 6 months, she's a resident. You can't just make her out. I said, she changed the locks without my say-so. And he said, you'll have to take care of this in civil court. I wanted to scream. Helen stood there behind them, pretending to be scared, whispering. He gets angry when things don't go his way, and I felt my whole life shift. The younger cop said, Sir, we say you stay somewhere else tonight, just until this is fixed. And I looked at Helen. She was smirking behind her hand like she'd just won a game she started months ago. I said, she's lying. She's not even pregnant. And she gasped, holding her stomach, whispering, oh my God, the stress. And the officers quickly turned toward me like I hit her. I backed away, hands up, seeing she'd set this trap perfectly. They told me to leave or chance being taken in for bothering a resident. I left. I sat in my car across the street, watching the light from my own living room flash against the rain. Through the curtains, I saw a shadow. Brian, tall, broad, moving boxes, laughing. They raised glasses. My house, my wine, my sofa. The following morning, I got up to 20 missed messages. Friends, family, people from work, pictures of the screen of Helen's posts. When you love someone and they leave you at your weakest, you learn who they really are. She'd written next to a photo of her in my kitchen wearing one of my shirts. Hand on belly. Many likes, words calling her brave. Some naming me directly with little dagger emojis. My boss even wrote to me, are you okay? This is everywhere. I felt like someone had torn my life apart and put it up for everyone to see. I tried calling her, no reply. I messaged her. Remove the post. She wrote back right away. Truth doesn't leave just because it pains, Denzel. I wrote back, you're not even pregnant. She sent a photo of an ultrasound, not clear, with her name cut out, and wrote, you don't get to gaslight me. I made it bigger and noticed the date 3 months ago. That's when I understood. I went to the clinic. She said she visited and asked for her papers, but they told me there was no person named Helen Jensen. I started looking. Each night, sitting in the car outside my old home, looking through her social media. I found old photos, other cities, other men, same words, same looks, always the same tale. He left me while I was pregnant. I found one account named in the comments. A guy named Harry. His page was hidden, but the info said, single dad, just trying to rebuild. My heart began beating hard. I wrote to him, hey, do you know a person named Helen Jensen? 10 minutes later, he wrote back, don't say she found you too. We met the next day at a cafe off the highway. Harry looked worn out, older than his photos. He told me all, how she came in fast, took control of his money, said she was pregnant, made his friends turn on him, then disappeared with money and jewels when he said he would tell on her. He even had pictures of the screen of fake ultrasound photos, the same one she sent me. I looked at the phone, shaking with both anger and calm. I was not mad. It was true. I went to a lawyer with Harry's proof, put in a paper to get back my house, and got a short stop order issued against her. But Helen did not stop. She put up a crying video holding her stomach, saying, I just want peace, but Denzel won't stop bothering me. And I saw my message box fill with hate again. People I did not know were writing to me things like, rot in hell, and you're a beast. She was winning the story, and I was sinking in her lies. Then one night, as I was sitting in my car looking from across the road, I saw her come out with Brian. They were laughing, taking a box to his truck. I began recording. When they left, I went to the back door, still had the extra key hidden under the roof edge. It did not work anymore, but I saw the new lock had a mark from a nearby locksmith. I called the store, acting to be the house owner. They said Helen had asked for the change and used my address. That was the last piece. I printed all. her social media posts, the ultrasound copies, the locksmith bill, and took it all to court. The most important part is coming up. Watch this video all the way to the end for the full truth. Subscribe, like, and share this now. The court time was like a dream. Helen showed up wearing white, carrying a pretend baby bump, hands shaking on her belly, tears ready like bullets. But when my lawyer gave the photos from Harry, her whole act wavered. The judge looked at her and said, "Miss Jensen, would you like to tell why your ultrasound image is the same as another person's from a clinic in Chicago?" And Helen stuttered, eyes moving quickly around. Brian, sitting behind her, looked lost, then very angry. She whispered, "They're lying," but her voice cracked. It was over. The judge gave me my house back and said her to leave right now. She tried one last show, crying, saying, "Where will I live?" And the judge replied coldly, "Somewhere that isn't built on fraud." Walking back into my home after 3 weeks felt not real. The air felt different, heavier, like the walls themselves had been watching. Most of my things were gone, some furniture, electronics, but I didn't mind. I had the keys again. I sat on the floor in the bare living room, and for the first time in weeks, I wasn't angry, just worn out. I thought about Harry and how many others like us were out there. Helen was most likely already planning her next story, next man, next pregnancy, but not here. Not anymore. People always ask now, "Why don't you see people anymore?" And I just smile and say, because love isn't always love. Sometimes it's just a really good scam. It's been 6 months since all happened, and I still get up sometimes thinking to hear her in the kitchen making coffee, singing softly to some song she never finished. And for a moment, I forget that Helen was never really that person. She was a show made from charm and skill. The house feels more silent now. Not peaceful, just empty in a way that repeats. I got rid of the furniture she chose, painted the walls again, changed the locks again. But sometimes when I walk past the hallway mirror, I see a glimpse of myself and think, "You look like someone who almost lost all." And that's exactly what I am. People always say you learn things from pain, but pain doesn't teach, it burns. I found out through Harry that Helen went away right after the court decision, cleared her accounts, disappeared like a ghost. 2 months later, he sent me a text with a screen picture from a dating app. Changed name, same smile. She was in a different city. I didn't even feel anger anymore. Just this cool understanding that some people don't change. They just start over. The lawyer told me I could add more charges for lying about who she was, but I didn't. I just wanted to live again. Word took me back slowly, but quiet talk stayed. Some people still think I was the guy who told a pregnant woman to get out. The internet never fully lets you out of its people's court. My parents don't ask about her anymore, but sometimes my mom calls just to see how I am, and she says, "Have you met anyone new?" And I say, "No, Mom, I'm okay." Because okay is the nearest thing to happy I can truthfully say right now. I started going to therapy. My counselor told me, "You can't fix trust by waiting for the right person. Denzel, you fix it by letting go of blame for yourself for believing the wrong one." And that stayed with me. At night, I sit on the steps with a cup of tea, no wine anymore, no noise, and I look through Reddit, sometimes reading stories from other people who got scammed, tricked, hurt. It's strangely comforting knowing I'm not the only fool who thought control was love. Sometimes I think about putting up my own story, maybe under some secret account, maybe right here, just to let people know what warning signs really look like when they're hidden as smiles. I'd start exactly the way it began, the sentence that changed everything. My girlfriend said, "You need to move out. I'm pregnant." And then I'd tell them what I wish someone had told me back then. That manipulation doesn't always look like shouting. Sometimes it looks like crying. Sometimes it sounds like I just need comfort. And sometimes it wears your favorite sweatshirt while destroying your life without you seeing. I still lock the doors twice every night. Not because I think she'll return, but because the thought of her ever being in my life again is more frightening than any robbery. And if anyone's asking whether I've gotten over it, I guess the truth is I'm still moving bit by bit, with care, like someone learning how to live in a house that at last belongs to them again. What do you think about this tale? Let me know in the comment section. Press like and don't forget to subscribe for more true life stories. This story shows why you must watch every video to the end for the full lesson. If this impacted you, please subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear it.